Greetings. Welcome to Dr. English's Book Lovers Book Club. I'm Dr. English and I teach English. This week I'm going to review When We Collided. It's by Emory Lord. This is a book that has two narrators, and so you should be prepared to keep switching narrators between Vivi and Jonah. Vivi has left Seattle and come to Verona Cove in California. It's a little kind of what I call like maybe a little bedroom community, but it's like an artist colony. There's lots of artistic people. And Jonah is a local. He's lived there for most of his life, not all of his life. And these two collide in this little town in California. And I have to say, one thing about Emory Lord that I really appreciated is that you get the impression that Vivi is like bipolar. You don't, it's never really said out loud, but she keeps referring to, she goes to this cliff and she throws a little pill, into the ocean, and because she doesn't want to take this. But I think, I'm really impressed by how she uses the character of Vivi to really show what a person is like if they have bipolar and they have not, they're in the manic phase of that cycle, and because she's just so vivacious, she's just constantly on the go. And I thought she did a really good job without telling us like explicitly that's what it is. But and Jonah is also in crisis in that his father died, and his father ran a restaurant. His father died young, and his mother is not functioning. She is not doing well. And so Jonah's the oldest, and there's like 6 children. And then Vivi is invited into this world, and no, I don't think Jonah's the oldest. I think there's a sister that's older. But having come from a large family, I was like, it was just endearing to me to read about Jonah and his family, and the kind of responsibility, even with parents that in a big family, older siblings do take on quite a bit. And so I just thought she did a really good job of intertwining their stories and how they're thinking. And Jonah is really, he is like the kid who just does everything that he's supposed to do. He's so dutiful, taking care of his mother, even though he realizes at some point that he can't do that anymore, that she has to, come out of her grief. But it takes time for some people. That's just the way it is. And sometimes people need help with their grief. And so, and that's something that she really addresses really well in this book. And I was really impressed with it. And she doesn't make it like a big deal of it. She just shows like a natural progression for some people and how grief might work. And that, how subtly you can also, suddenly get help or feel like, oh, you're ready for that. And so I really appreciated that. I really felt like she should have maybe had a little bit more emphasis on Jonah getting some help, because Jonah is still grieving his father just like his siblings are. And I think sometimes we forget that, siblings grieve too when a parent is lost or another sibling is lost or whatever it may be. And that each person grieves uniquely. Each person grieves in their own way, and the process is different for everybody. And some are good, in a few months or so, and some are not good. It might take years. And grief is one of those things that it always is with you. So it may take years. It's always with you for years. But I thought she did a good job of showing how sometimes people completely just shut down because of just overwhelming grief. Their heart is broken. So so the stories are actually intertwined throughout the whole thing of what Vivi was dealing with. And you don't know till toward the end, like what had happened in Seattle. And then I won't give any spoilers away, and I will say that everybody is safe at the end. And so that's always a good thing to know, that that it's that people find the other people or the things that they need to recover from the traumas in their lives. So and this scene that I'm going to read is just after Vivi has found a person in her life that hasn't been in her life, and she's talking with Jonah. And so I'll read this. If you were going to kill yourself, how would you do it? Jonah is silent for a few moments, and I don't turn to see his expression because I don't care. If he's shocked, if he's judging me, if he's offended, I don't care. Jesus, Viv, I have no idea. I've never thought about it. Ugh, of course he hadn't. Noble Jonah and his duty to his family. I'm just being hypothetical, Jonah. Honestly, the sensitivity. Get over it, you know? I don't appreciate how often people hide their scars and doubts. Really, it's not fair to people who are struggling to go on believing that everyone else just has it totally together and never has one bad thought in their lives. Like, I know you people sometimes lie awake at night torturing yourselves over the atrocities in this world and mortality and meaning. I know you're not just daydreaming about riding a pink pony to your job as a cupcake taster. Do you believe in heaven? I always think I don't believe in God because I don't go to church and I don't care what people do as long as it doesn't hurt anyone. But if that's true, then why do I mumble to a higher being sometimes? Please help me, I ask sometimes. Or I get angry at some unknowable form in the sky for my lot in life. This isn't fair, I complain. You are not being fair to me at all. Sometimes I believe in reincarnation, and sometimes I believe in the heaven that they tell little kids about, like golden streets and choirs in the clouds and being happy forever. Sometimes I believe in nothing at all because life can be such a wormhole of despair that I have to think we're on our own. I want to, Jonah says after a while. That's not the same thing. Yeah, he sighs as if this thought had crossed his mind excruciatingly often. I know. So that is a scene that I thought was particularly meaningful because I think teenagers do think about those kinds of things and have lots of questions. And some people have those questions their whole lives, and that's okay too. Now, if I would teach this book if I had a chance to. I think it's definitely a book that you could use for a book club or literature circle. I think students would have a really good time discussing this book together, and obviously my students did because this was one of the books that one group chose. And I don't remember, in the conversation, I don't think that any of them had that conversation as far as would they teach it or not. I think they just enjoyed reading the book, and I think it's a really great read. This is a good book for middle school too, not just high school. I think it's really acceptable. It's kind of very. It's just talking about two people having faced different kinds of tragedies in their lives and how they came together one summer. It's like only over one summer, and I think that's why I like it. It's like it just puts this time frame, and beyond that, you don't really know what happens. But I think a lot of young people have those summer romances or summer experiences with somebody maybe they meet, and they develop a quick relationship. And of course, a quick relationship like that is always very um, just overwhelming and stimulating. So yeah, I definitely put it on my teacher shelf. So I think this is a great book for a classroom or for a small group, or just have it available to students to read. So, When We Collided by Emory Lord. A couple weeks ago, I stopped saying which book I was going to read because I was having a little bit of trouble with what is going to come next. But I do know that my next one is going to be A World Without You by Beth Revis. And so thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Bye.